Let's go through some more advanced things now that we know the basics. If I click on this auto layout, I'll just explain how it's made. So you can see that it actually consists of two auto layouts, so they're nested inside of this main auto layout, and all of them have a couple of avatars from, let's say, some kind of users or something, and they're all contained in this main auto layout. So you have all of the settings for this main auto layout in here, and you can see that these auto layouts have their own settings. So for example, instead of the space in between them being negative, you can make it positive, of course, and so on and so on. So let's keep it like this for now, and let's enter into this first section. To go to advanced auto layout settings, you just hit this three dots in here, and you have a couple of options. When it comes to spacing mode, packed and space between is actually going to influence the main frame settings that we have in here. So you can see right now it's put to hug, which means that for as much as we decide to add content like this, it's going to expand. And if we switch that from hug to fixed width, that means that it's going to impact how the spacing mode is going to work. So you're going to see that as soon as I switch from space between, it's also going to impact some other settings, because if you think of space between, it means that the main frame of auto layout is a certain kind of width, and the elements inside are just going to basically be spaced between the width of that element. So you see, I moved it to space between, and this switched to fixed, because only if the main parent frame is fixed is actually this going to make sense. So Figma just switches it for us. So if you're playing around with some settings, know that some of the other things that you might have kind of set before are going to get reset to what makes sense for this new option that you chose. And you're now going to see, if I remove a couple of these elements, that they're going to kind of space and fill in the space of the main parent frame by putting in the spacing in between those elements based on the width of the parent frame. So since it's 124 pixels, and these items are 24, 24, and 24, basically they're going to use the rest of the space to create the spacing between. And if you make this smaller, you can see the spacing also becoming smaller. So just a neat little trick that you can use. If we return it back to packed, you can then switch this back to hugging contents, which means that it's resizing based on how many elements are inside. When it comes to strokes, you can have them included in the layout or excluded. So you can see that all of my elements inside, they actually have a little stroke in here, and that means that the height of this element is either taking into account those strokes or not. And you can see it going up by 1 pixel, because there's like half a pixel on top and half a pixel on the bottom, and it's either including it or excluding it from the layout. When it comes to canvas stacking, it's basically will this first item in here be overlapped by the second one, or will it overlap the second one? So just like this, you can see that switching. When it comes to text-based alignment, I actually have this example in here where, you know, the baseline is basically this blue line when you hover over the text. That's the baseline of the text. It's kind of the line on which most characters sit. And if we have an auto layout, you can also use that to your advantage to kind of create everything so that it falls on the baseline. So you can see me turning it on, and now all of the text is very neatly aligned, because our eyes mostly are following that line. They're not kind of expecting the text to be centered like this, because that looks a little bit ridiculous. We expect this, so the baseline to be the things where text is aligned on. So yeah, you can do that as well. And those are all of these advanced options. When it comes to other things that you might do that are kind of neat tricks when it comes to auto layout. As you can see in here, I have nested auto layouts, and then inside of them I also have layers. So if I want to enter and get to those layers, I can quickly do so just by hitting enter and enter. But I can also hit shift enter to go back outside like this. There is also a neat little plugin that you can use as an advanced tip that helps you you can always search for plugins, by the way, by hitting command / and you can then go and find the plugin that you want. This one is called copy and paste auto layout. So first I'm going to copy the auto layout, and then I'm going to paste the auto layout, and you can see that all of the settings, even the baseline settings, so advanced ones, are copied to this new auto layout. And you can also go in here and copy the style of this and paste it in here. So that's one way that you can kind of save up on time if you have to rework another set of auto layout layers to work the same way as the other one did. And my final pro tip is this. You can have some kind of a layer. Most often you're going to see examples with like a little X icon that's appearing outside of the main window or something. You can place an element inside of this and hit this option here on the top that says absolute position. It allows you to kind of position this element wherever you want to without it affecting all of the other rules that you have for auto layout. So it's kind of ignoring the settings, and it's positioned absolutely based on the auto layout frame. So in here, if we have more of these, it's going to be based like that. And if you want it to position to this edge, you just have to make the constraints work the way that you expect them to work. I think those are all of my advanced tips for playing around with auto layout in Figma. And in the next video, we're actually going to take all of the things that we learned about auto layout and put them into practice.